Welcome everybody for this tier list video. It's patch 6.05. It's a little bit late, it's long into the patch already. I'm finally on stream, having time for the tier list. So some units might be discussed with the chat, and we're gonna start right away. We're starting at the front with the Angler. I think there's not too much to say. I put them on C tier. I think they were there for a long time already. They're just not that great in the early game. They're scaling really well if you have a 95 plus stacked Kingpin for later game, but in the early game you're just forced to stay on low worker, have the right setup, so that's pretty much C tier for me. I would put the Antler maybe in C as well. I really don't like the Antler anymore. You kind of only play it for the Whiteman aura, which is still a massive buff for your tanks, but overall the Antler with the fast attack speed is like really bad because you're staying low on workers. You have to you're getting your fourth worker really late, while the Antler then is not even giving you a long wave, but it's clearing really fast. So Antler is not really good. Whiteman aura is still very good, but obviously you will have the dead unit Antler in your role then. And Whiteman is obviously a very expensive unit. Aquas, they're back into my heart again. With a lot of nerfs to other units, Aquas are kind of back. They're a little bit more viable as an opener again. They're still not A tier opener, for sure not. Only for me sometimes, because I prefer to play Aquas and I was used to do it. I'm not 100% sure if it's the right option to do them in A tier or B tier. I'm a little bit between the lines here. Like it could be both, I think. It's like an A minus because of the Aqua buff. I think I'm gonna put them in A tier. If there's like people having another opinion, please go ahead. Banana Bunk. What should I say? I think it's still the best anti-7 unit, so we kind of have to keep it in S tier. It's an early game unit. The Haven is totally not the greatest unit anymore. It doesn't feel too strong, especially with Ogre and 4 Eyes dominating the mid-game, late-game sense. So Banana Bunk here is mostly for the early game. It's kind of funny that there's some units that should be late game units, for example Banana Bunk or Berserker, we're coming to that, but basically the strongest waves are in the early game. Next one we're having Bazooka. Both Pyro is super dead this patch and Zeus is not really played. I'm not sure if it's actually belonging into D tier. Just having a quick look at other units, what would be in D tier. I think Bazooka is actually the unit that belongs into D tier now. Like you should. Zeus is just overall a little bit too weak. Now I finally got it. And Pyro is 100% dead against the mole. So probably Bazooka is on the right spot there. Berserker, we mentioned it. It kind of sucks on the waves. It should be good. Like if you have a Berserker on 10, most of the times it's not even gonna help you. But it's a very nice early game unit. Waves 1 to 7, I would say. You're really lucky with it. 3 can be 5 worker holds. You have a 7 worker hold on 5 most of the times, and then it's good tank value on 6 and 7, while even dealing some damage on 7. So Berserker would be B tier in my eyes because really strong early game, but like for the actual purpose it has, which should be slicing down big units with a lot of health because of the ramping up damage, it's not really serving the purpose. So it is B tier for me. Next on, we're having the Bone Warriors, classical A tier. They're just too versatile. Bone Crusher has always been a good thing to start with. The regeneration early on is just insane. Dark Mage is a little bit weak now. Fire Archer are really good in some split situations. So A tier is a really good spot. Next one we're having Butcher. I really dislike the Butcher aura nowadays. I don't know, it doesn't look too it's not too strong. It's not like totally useless. I think last time it was in C for me. I would actually put it in B now because I just feel if you're having the right setup, which might be Wanderers, could be good with it. You have your Soras, you have Nightmares, you have Phoenix, early game Berserker, and early game Harbringer. That's pretty much what you want to have with a Butcher, and with those units it's good, but that's about it. So Butcher kind of balanced with some units, kind of trash with the other units. That's my opinion. Next on Buzz is just can we actually? I think with the latest nerfs to the Buzz passive, we should place it in A because there's a lot of damage getting lost now with dealing 50 instead of 60 passive damage. So I would have put it in A. It was S tier, I think, last time, but now with that nerf, it should be A, I think. But it's really, really strong. One of the strongest tier 1 units for sure. Next on, we're having Chain Fist. That's pretty much balanced for me. Nothing too much to say about that. Pilgrim is a little bit on the weaker side. I like to play it with the right setup, and if you know how to control it, let it tank 1 or 2 units. Those units should be dead by a few seconds, and then it's just giving the heals to your setup. Is really, really strong early on and can help you in the later game with wild streams, for example, as well. Still, it's not anywhere top tier, so I think C tier is a little bit harsh, but it's a good thing to have it here. Vicky even thinks it's D tier, but to be fair, if you play passive with it and don't overgreed, it's pretty solid. So the problem is more like you can't greed too much with it. That's the thing. If you're playing passive with a Pilgrim, you're pretty much on the good side. Starcaller. We're having the problem with Starcaller. It's like a decent unit. It's a little bit on the weaker side on its own. But if you're having it with Hades or with Gates, it's kind of exploding. It's just going nuts. Is this B or is this actually A? So it's like in between, again, between A and B. This time, like last time, it was Aquas was A minus. This time would actually say Disciple is B plus. So let's put it in D. If there's a lot of you complaining about it, that's fine. I would say it's like B plus. Exag, nothing to say. S tier. Wanderer is pretty solid, really nice split, and good damage if you control it right. A tier for me. Phoenix, it's hard. I think Phoenix is totally balanced. It's nowhere close to OP. It's not bad at all. I think Phoenix is just a very good prime example of a balanced unit. I would say exactly the same about Green Devil as well. Really nice in the early game. Not totally, but pretty much worthless later on. So that is it. The much I hate Harbringer. They feel kind of balanced to me right now. They are still an early game unit most of the times. If you have anything that is better for later game, you would build something else. But if there's really nothing else you have, and if you're having like a good buff build with either Star Column, with Magician, or with Steeds, you can actually spam them a little bit more. I would actually say they're pretty much balanced, and I would not be surprised if their win rate is around 50%. Golden Buckler are just love. They're just such a powerful unit. Such a nice tank for 50 gold only, and solving the purpose for being super strong on 11. It's just insane. I see that Gateguard is C. Is there more opinions about Gateguard? I kind of like Gateguard on C because I don't really like the unit, but it feels good in the early game right now. So maybe I can hear some more opinions about Gateguard. It's like on the weaker side of B, obviously, but it's kind of strong in the early game right now. Growl, you cannot discuss it. Growl with the ability to shift gold, and for example, into an Hexagon 1, it's just too strong. Boas, still pretty much bad. Would put them in C because they can fulfill their job. Pretty much, they're really nice on 14, for example, if you're having a red eye there. So it's kind of a nice unit in very situational setups, but like this, you don't really play it otherwise. Harpies, sorry, but they're still really shitty, even though I love to play them. Honeyflower, it's balanced. I can't say anything else. It's kind of trashy early game. It is incredible late game. I'm not sure if this is like balanced. Like it might actually be a little bit weaker since it's not good in the early game and you have to play around it till the late game. It's hard. It's hard to be honest. I think I'm gonna leave it in B for now. Infiltrator, they feel balanced actually. They feel balanced. They are pretty sure balanced. So we should leave it on B, even though 80 gold into Swift armor early on is really strong. Next one we're having looters. Looters are nothing special, so I would put them in B. They're fine. The looters themselves, 10 gold is still really nice. For a nice split, for some spam if you're having some gold left, some spare gold. So let's put them in B. The pack rat is a really nice thing you can go for early on if you want to stay a little bit safer on specific waves and are really good on others. So I think B is a good one. Next on LOD. I think with LOD having the upgrade as Hades, you have the problem that LOD on its own is really much balanced. Hades though, especially with buffs, so if it is Starcaller, if it is Hero or White Man Aura, it's like really strong. So I'm unsure between A and S. I think it would be like A+, since the Hades is really strong with a good buff. It's strong without a buff. And LOD is pretty much balanced. So I think having a spot in the middle of that would be A still. Okay, to C. Orchid should be in A. I know what you mean, but is there more with the opinion that Orchid should be A? The thing is, they feel pretty much balanced. Like they don't feel OP. Not at all. So I think B is a fine thing, but if there's more of you saying that they're way too like strong, like on the upper side, I might give it an A. Next one we're having masks. They're A. They need the right setup. They had hard nerfs so early on. The nerf was real. Millennium, I'm sorry, but this unit is still trash. It's not that trash. It's C, okay? The range is just ruining the whole unit. Give it normal range again, or at least Firelord range, and easy. Mudman, holy shit, Mudman is super strong at the moment. Nikomata is pretty much... I would say it's bad, but it might be balanced as well. It's kind of in between there. I think it's more balanced than bad. Nightmare being there as well, my opinion. PB, you got a spot there. Polywog, the unit itself is just dead value. You can still split very nice, but overall it's dead value. But the upgrades are really nice. They can be nice as tank value. They can be nice as DPS source, but I still think they're C because the nerfs were just too hard. Next on, Asseria. Asseria is dominating at the moment. It's really, really good. Is this actually S? It's at least A. It's at least A. Asseria might actually be S. Even if there were nerfs, it might actually be S. I'm gonna leave it in S for now. I'm gonna reconsider it while we are doing the rest, but it might actually be S. Atoms, they're okay. I think they're balanced right now. Even a lot of people might still like them as an opener, but later on they're just falling off far too fast. I think we don't have to talk about Ranger. I think... Okay, I did it. It's D tier. They're just useless. Like, Ranger are really nice with Asseria for slicing down a boss on 10, but that's basically it. Steed, there's no place for a Steed below A tier, just because of their synergy. Sandbatcher, really nice tank value. It's balanced though. It's not too strong at all. It's just balanced. I would say it might actually be on the weaker side of balance right now. So it might actually be B-, since yes, you have good arcane value, but that's about it. Serpents, there's no place for Serpents without being in S tier. You just deny your enemy such a big span of sense. Yeah. Gates are really strong again. I'm happy Jules did buff the Gates as I proposed, with just giving it finally some more HP, and suddenly they're really strong. Maybe a little bit too strong already. They're A tier for me, since you cannot build Gates blindly and succeed with it, but you need a right setup. And that is pretty much Gates for me. Yes, Tempest. Tempest are okay, but you only build Tempest with Violets actually, or with a Phoenix sometimes. I would put them in C, they're not too strong. Next on, we're going with the Varric, one of my absolute favorite units. It's B tier, they're not too strong sadly. Want to continue with Wildshroom. I would love to put Wildshroom in D tier, but I think then we would need another category for Pyro. I think they're C tier. They're pretty much trash though. I don't like them at all. Windhawks, yeah, they're somewhere here. They're really nice early on. They're falling off super hard in the late game, and even with all their buffs getting cut down, it might be soon in C tier. It might be soon in C tier. Yasora, nice unit. It's kind of balanced, even though I think it's on the weaker side actually. A Gyre, the upgrade is really nice though. What is Nikomata doing in B? Yeah, do you think it's worse or it's better? Because the problem is the Nikomata with the heal ability is pretty much trash. But if you only use it with not full stacks all the time, you can do really nice stuff. For example, Niku in the split is really good tank value, as King states. Niku in the split, for example, early on can save your ass. APS, well, if you use it correctly with some units, it's good. If you don't use it with the right units, it's bad. I would put it in C tier just because it's so dependent on units. And last but not least, I think elite archers are balanced to the negative part of B. Like a little bit B average to B minus. That's the range I would say that elite archers are.